Good afternoon, Snow West. I'm Christopher, aka Graybeard, your pirate guide for West Yellowstone Island Park. And today is May 1st. And as you can probably already tell by now, I am out with my 4 furry friends. What will begin our summer series of walk and talks, where you and I will join each other for a little adventure as I spend my afternoons out walking the puppies and exploring the national parks and looking at the places that we go sledding during the wintertime and talking about what's of interest to the community. Today being May 1st, we are pretty well done with the season at long last. It's been a good season. It has lasted much longer than I like. If you've stayed on the Facebook page, you've seen some interesting pictures just the last couple of days that have really been surprising, that there is still good snow, and some of the crew is out there in Montana still having a good time. But we are rapidly heading towards the spring. Oh gosh, what do you want to call it? The spring slopes. The Spring Snow Fest, or the Sled Fest, or the last big rides of the year. And I think there's one going on up in Colorado, one out in California. There's one coming up in 2 weeks in Montana. And if you're heading out to any of those, I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to see some pictures and some videos as we close out the 24-25 year. Excuse me as I keep looking over at the puppies. Me and my 4 huskies, that'd be Tasha and Ember, Sasha and Misha. Those are my 4 rescue babies. They will be my companions all summer long as we do these walk and talks. During the winter, they lose an awful lot of their activity time to me as I'm up sledding, making content for you guys. So in the summertime, I try to make up for it, and I take the pups out for walks as much as I can. So, Sled Fest of a variety of different names and different gatherings. We are heading into that time of the year when everybody gets together for the last ride of the season. They do the one big send-off, or you go out riding in a t-shirt and shorts and a pair of boots on and have a good time, where sunscreen becomes the name of the game. The snow up at Island Park in West Yellowstone, we're approaching, I think we're in the 70-inch zone now, so it's starting to melt fast. I haven't been up there in a couple of weeks, but I suspect the next time that I'm up there will probably be on mountain bike or on ATV. But I will be getting back up all summer long if I possibly can, exploring places that we weren't able to get into this winter and looking for new opportunities for next fall and next winter. And in the meantime, it's mod season. And I've got my list. I'd be curious to hear from you guys what are you gonna be working on this summer? What's your project? My goal, and you guys all know I'm a dew fan, and I'm riding a pair of Turbo Summit X's. I'm gonna see if I can't shave 15 or 20 pounds off the front end of next year's sled. I have a match set. I'll be retiring the tan one that you've seen in all my videos this last year, and I'll be moving over to my backup sled, which will be a red and black one, though I may do a wrap on it this summer. I'm not sure. I may peel it off and change it and do something a little different that highlights the whole pirate guide thing. But I was so impressed with that 26 Expert and how light it was and how well it handled, that I'm going to see if I can't lighten up my 24s just a little bit and get a little more performance, a little bit better handling out of them this summer. I think that's probably doable. I'm looking at a new hood potentially, new skis, new shocks, definitely a new can, and see where I can shave off a few pounds here and a few pounds there. So this morning I was checking out all the webcams on the mountains. I wanted to take a look and see just how far spring has actually progressed up in the mountains. And I went over to the Jackson Hole webcam, I don't know what you want to call it, assortment. And there's probably 40 or 50 webcams if you go to Jackson you can look at. I'd seen some photos that have been posted lately that made it look like spring had really arrived in Jackson, and I was very skeptical. And sure enough, it hasn't quite got there yet. The snow's melting fast, and there's little bits of buds on some of the trees, and I'm going to bet in the next week or so Jackson Hole is going to turn green. It won't be long now at all. And that just happens to be one of the places I like to go the most. I love the Grand Teton National Park and the whole greater Jackson Hole area. It's a wonderful place to go biking and walking, hiking, take the dogs. We go out on a lot of adventures over on that side of the Tetons. I need to spend more time on this side of the Tetons this summer, though. It's something I haven't done. I get up to Driggs, during the winter time, but I very seldom, go hiking or go ATV in there in the summer, and that's something I want to do. I want to spend a little more time getting to know some of the areas that are closer to home. Oh, puppies are hot on the trail of something down there. Some little critter. Come on, girls. So I'm in that process of starting to think what I'm going to do all summer long, where I want to go, what I want to see, what kind of hiking and exploring. I like to get into Yellowstone quite a bit. I love hiking in Yellowstone. Same thing in Grand Teton National Park. There's just some absolutely spectacular places. As beautiful as our whole area is for Island Park, West Yellowstone, the whole greater Island Park caldera, in the wintertime, and it is gorgeous in the wintertime, make no mistake about it. It's every bit as beautiful, just 100 times more busy. That sounds like 100 times busier in the summertime than it is in the winter, because there's so many people that are just completely afraid of the snow and afraid of the cold. So in the summer, you know, you're going to see traffic numbers just explode. But just like it is for snowmobiles in the winter, once you get off the beaten path and you get away from the major tourist areas, boy, I'm here to tell you, you can have the mountain to yourself. Jenny Lake inside of Grand Teton National Park is a real gem. And there's a section from Jenny Lake, from where the boat launch is, over to where the boat landing is across the lake. If you hike that little section, it's busy, and there'll be lots and lots of people right around where the boat landing is. You go a couple of 100 feet past the boat landing, and it's freaking a desert. There's nobody there. And again, it's this thing, I'm not sure what the deal is, but people come and visit the national parks and visit the forests, and they don't want to get very far away from their cars. And I saw the same thing all winter long with you guys, and I don't mean you specifically, because you may be the exception, but with people coming out to Island Park in West Yellowstone, coming to visit, they get on their sleds, they ride along the groomed trails, and occasionally they'll dip off into a big open meadow that they can really clearly see where they're at. But they're only going to see a couple of % of what we have to offer. And in the summertime, it's exactly the same. Boy, if they drive in their cars, they'll go on the groomed trails, as it were, the walkways, the paved or the planked walkways, and they'll go explore what everybody else explores. But that's 1% of what's available. Get off that heavy-duty beaten path, and inside of Yellowstone and inside of Grand Teton, there's hundreds of miles of trails. I mean, these aren't necessarily trails that you have to put a backpack on and, you know, carry 35 pounds of gear and go for a multi-day expedition. You can, and there's spectacular backpacking. But I'm a day hiker, you know, so you carry a couple of quarts of water for you and some nibbles for the puppies, or, you know, whatever, and set off on your adventure and just go walking. You know, do a 5, a 7, a 10-mile hike. You know, you're out and back the same day. Going to Jackson, have a really great meal. Jackson has fabulous food, by the way. But you just got to get off the beaten path, guys. So that is something that I hope to do. I will do some ATVing, which is something that'll be new for me. I have not done much of that in the past. So I hope to get the ATV out. I want to use the ATV to explore. But I know in IP and in West, I'm going to run up against a lot of trail closures during the summertime. Most of you, I think, come out here only during the winter. And in the winter on a sled, you have virtually unrestricted access to the entire national forest. There's only a handful of really specific places where you're not allowed to ride your sled. That is not the case in the summertime. When you come out in the summer and you're on an ATV, you are very restricted. Very little off-trail areas open for riding, and many of the actual groomed snowmobile trails you're used to are closed to ATVs in the summertime. And one of my projects this summer is to get a much better handle on where you're allowed to go and where you're not allowed to go. I've also got a mountain bike, so my hope is that even though I'm a 62-year-old snow pirate, if I'm in good enough shape, I'm going to try to mountain bike up on Black Canyon. And we'll see. I've never tried to do that before. I don't know if I can make it up that mountain on a bike or not. That'll be a personal challenge I've got. Summertime for me is when I work really aggressively on physical fitness. I try to get in shape. Over the course of the winter, I put on weight, and in the course of the summer, I will try really hard to take that weight off and work on as much aerobic exercise as I possibly can. Certainly as you get older, it gets harder. You see those young pups that are in their 20s and 30s, busting those amazing moves on their sleds. Yeah, I'm envious. I admit it. I can't do a lot of that stuff. And I have to work a lot harder than most. But it doesn't mean that I'm not capable. It just means I have to work harder. So I will spend the summer doing a lot of exercise, a lot of conditioning and strength training, so that come next winter, I'm still in reasonably good shape. I can get out there and get myself unstuck and go have a lot of fun. Yesterday, I was watching YouTube and Apple. I swear they conspire together and they listen to everything you say. And some videos started popping up about exercise. How did they put it? Elderly exercise or exercise over 60, something like that. Just made me smile and laugh because I knew somehow it had heard something that I said and keyed in on it. But it was all about cardiovascular exercise for, people that are 60 years old and older. And the whole point of the article, the presentation, was that the best single medical indicator of how long you're going to live is what your max VO2 is during an exercise session. And at 62 right now, my max VO2 is 51.2, which puts me in the upper 95 percentile for 40 to 50 year olds. So I'm in really good shape as far as cardio goes. But I had no idea that was the number one leading indicator if you're going to have a long life or not. So you want to make sure that you stay in shape, guys. And if you came out here this winter and you're up there at, at the 7,000, 8,000 foot level, and your your snowmobile got stuck and you had a hard time unstucking that and you felt yourself, you were winded, you might want to consider about looking at an exercise routine that puts you in a better position for this coming winter. Granted, that's May 1st. So what have we got? May, June, July, August, September, October, November, 5, 6. We got 7 months. Come on, girls. You got 7 months to get ready for next season. By Thanksgiving, we'll be riding again, just like we were this year. I love these dogs. They're all about the sniff. I want to keep working and get yourself in the best possible shape you can. Now, I would be curious, as a 62-year-old snow pirate, to hear from any of you other guys that are mature, seasoned adults. What do you do in the off season to stay in shape? Am I the only guy that deliberately tries to, put together an exercise plan 5 days a week? Because I do 5 days a week, I exercise. And on weekends, I try to get out and, spend time with my wife and do things that are fun that she enjoys as well. Happy wife, happy life. I'm a firm believer in that. Oh, my dogs are hunting hard. Come on, girls. Come on, babies. Come on, pups. Come on, give me a break. You gotta walk with me, girls. This is a 50-50 proposition. They're just not having anything to do with it today. They're all about the sniff today. Come on, kids. I would be interested in knowing what you guys do. Am I alone in this? Am I the only old guy that's busting his butt every morning, trying to stay in shape? Are some of you the kind that you just don't have to do anything? It just comes naturally. You're always in good shape. It's possible, I suppose. I truly don't know. But I would like to hear from you. I'd like to know. Just personal curiosity on my part. I'd be curious to know, is being physically fit, something that you consider important, or is it, kind of secondary? I know from conversations I've had with some of you guys that those of you that are riding on the East Coast may be doing a little more bar hopping than we do out here. And some of the riding may not be nearly as physically demanding. Certainly the elevation isn't. So maybe being in shape at the wintertime is not a big priority for you. I really, truly don't know. So I would be curious to hear. And I'll probably throw up some posts and some memes about that as the season goes along this year. I suppose the other thing that's has been of significant news lately is what's going on with Arctic cat. Now, I'm not a big cat guy, but I have to admit I'm very happy. I was very pleased to see that go public and them finally announce what was going on for the last couple of months as they'd gone through all those negotiations. We need to have more than just 2 manufacturers. And this isn't a matter of, American made or Mexican made or Canadian made. It's just for the entire sport. We need to have more players, and having 3 is significantly better than 2. The fact that, you know, it's an American company, booyah, I'm all about that. That's great. But more importantly, I'm just glad that there's going to be 3 people competing, 3 different levels of technology, 3 different types of innovation going on. And I hope CAT does well. I really do. For those of you that are diehard CAT enthusiasts, God bless you. That's how I used to be about Yamaha. Yamaha's out of the game entirely now. So that's a thing of the past. As a self-appointed snowmobile ambassador, of course, my goal is to see the sport, the community thrive. I want to see snowmobiling do well. I want to see it grow. I want to see it prosper. I want to bring more people in. I tried to put my money where my mouth was this winter. And I took out 3 or 4 never-evers. I made a point of, you know, taking some folks out, taking a few days of my riding off to introduce never-evers to the sport. And I think I made a positive impression on everybody I took out. As far as I can tell, they all had a good time, and we will go back and do some more riding next year. Maybe some of them will even buy sleds. And as you guys, my self-appointed second mates on the pirate ship of Snow West, as it were, I hope some of you guys had a chance to take people out, introduce them to the sport. And if you did, I'd like to hear about that also this summer. Let me know how your experiences were. Let me know what people thought. If you got some folks out, and if you didn't, make a plan, guys. Come on. No, find a day that you can take off and introduce somebody to the sport. We are not going to grow this sport unless we get really deliberate and we start planning out activities to introduce people to it. This is just not something that people stumble into by themselves. The sport is, I don't know, how would you describe it? It doesn't welcome somebody in to just go out and try it. You need to be introduced. You need to have a friend. You need to have somebody in the family. Somebody has to bring you along and show you how to do it. I think I really am the exception on that. You know, back in 2008, 2009, when I just went out and rented a sled, taught myself how to ride, and I did a piss poor job of it, but I absolutely fell in love with it. I had a fabulous freaking time. I don't think that happens very often. I think this is a very community-oriented sport, and that community may only be 2 or 3 guys, you know, or 2 or 3 gals. But my gut tells me that that's the norm, and I'm the exception. So we need to work on that, guys. We need to give a little thought and give a little planning. And then, of course, yes, by the way, I'm rambling. I'm just talking about a whole bunch of different topics today as I'm out walking. I'm just letting my mind go through things that are fun and interesting. The other thing that's been of interest to me lately is Yellowstone National Park. Now, I don't know why, but I've really spent a lot of time thinking about Yellowstone, thinking about riding in Yellowstone, thinking about the restrictions that Yellowstone places on us and how those restrictions really are growing, as a burr in my saddle. You know, it's really starting to bother me that it is so grossly unfair and unrepresentative of the reality for automobiles inside the park. You know, you could drive in there with the nastiest car, the loudest car, the smokiest, you know, unrestricted diesel, a bus, a commercial truck, and it's fine. There's no limitation on you at all. They can put literally a million vehicles, a million plus, visitors over the course of the summer, where we had 3,000 sleds for the whole year. And yet we have these incredibly tight, restrictive restrictions, for lack of a better term, placed upon us and what we can't do, where we can't go. We can't go in by ourselves. We can't go in on our own sleds. We have to rent a sled. We have to hire a guide. We're very closely monitored and watched. And I just think it's a load of crap, personally, guys. So that's been bugging me quite a bit. And you've seen that in some of the posts I've done over the last couple of weeks. And I am cautiously optimistic that just maybe we might be able to see some change with that, with the executive orders on forestry and logging. I'm hoping that we'll start to see logging pick up again. I'm a big proponent of that. I think it's good for the forest. I think it's good for our riding areas. I would love to see some of those old logging roads open back up again. Those are our primary access into the forest, and areas that are closed would become open areas again. So I'm definitely a supporter of that. These are the things your pirate's been pondering over for the last couple of weeks while I haven't been doing any videos. I will get back to doing these videos on a very regular basis all summer long. I've just taken a couple of weeks off to catch up on a pile of things. And the whole thing with the tariffs, you know, I'm watching that, and that's going to have all kinds of unforeseen, unexpected fallout. How that's going to shake out in our industry, I'm not sure yet. I'm somewhat close with some of the manufacturers. I have a lot of friends, and I do get to listen to some of the background chatter. And an awful lot of gear is made outside of the United States, guys. So it is going to have an impact. It's going to have an impact on product availability. It's going to have an impact on product cost. There's so much uncertainty in the entire industry right now as to what's going to be available come fall. I would say this is just a guess, but my guess is the snow shows next year come fall are probably going to be huge. They're probably going to be very big, where people are selling off the 23, 24, early 25 remaining inventory. And there may be some real shortages or lack of product for the 26 inventory, just because they weren't able to get it made in China and Vietnam and Thailand, Laos, India. I used to be in manufacturing years ago. I had product that was made overseas. You know, that stuff has got to be done many months in advance. And right now we're looking already at shipping for back to school not coming. And the Christmas season shipping would be coming up in the next 60, 90 days tops. That stuff is not going to be coming out of Southeast Asia. So it'll be interesting to see how this all shakes out. This is going to be a busy summer. There's going to be a lot of things going on, things that will affect the snowmobiling communities, will affect the manufacturing side of our sport. And who knows what next year's going to bring on the weather side either. Not a freaking clue yet. You know, very, very early prognostications out there now. I don't know that they have any credit at all, but they are not predicting a repeat of this current year. They are saying we're going to look for some differences and changes based on the temperature of the Pacific Ocean currents. We'll see if that pans out. But there'll be all kinds of things to talk about, not the least of which will be getting back up in the mountains during the summertime on the ATV, on the mountain bike, or just taking the pups out. I, as always, enjoy your comments, guys. If you've made it this far, you've given me 15 or 20 minutes of your time to the old guy just rambling on. I had no particular agenda today. I just wanted to get some content made and start the conversation. It is May. As far as I'm concerned, it's summer now. Everything's starting to get green. The mountains will be green in the next couple of weeks. The snow is rapidly melting. Everything in the 5,000, 6,000 foot range is pretty much gone now. There's still snow in the 7,000, 8,000, 9,000 foot range. The snow fests, of course, they're going to be up at the 9, 10, 11,000 foot range, and there's plenty of snow up high. I would think the boys in Colorado will probably have some great snow for the sled test coming up. Maybe the guys in Tahoe will have a good turnout. Cook, I'm not sure what the snow depth is in Cook, but Cook normally gets an awful lot of snow. I may still make the jaunt up to Cook myself this year. And if so, if you're coming out, I look forward to seeing you there. I think we're 16 days out, 15, 16 days out till Cook. That's the closest sled fest for me. So, my friends, drop some comments. Let me know what you're thinking about. What's on your agenda for the summer? What things are important in your head as far as sledding goes? I am Christopher. I am your friendly forum admin for snowwest.com, aka Graybeard, your pirate guide for West Yellowstone and Island Park. And I look forward to hearing from you guys. Thanks for sticking with the video. See ya.